Hello everyone, I am Brijesh Kumar. Today I am going to teach you the poem To His Love. This poem has been written by William Shakespeare. My dear students, before I begin to teach you about the poem, I would like to tell you a little information about the writer himself. William Shakespeare was an English playwright, poet, actor of Elizabethan era. My dear students, you must know that he was a playwright basically, and he almost was one of the best playwrights of his time, and still he is known as the best playwright. And he was a poet, he was an actor because he acted in many of his dramas which he himself had written, and in the dramas of other dramatists of the contemporary time. And he was in the Elizabethan era, because you must know that the time period of Elizabethan era is 1558 to 1603, and he was born on 23rd of April 1564 at Stratford upon Avon and died on 23rd April 1660. My dear students, you must know that Queen Elizabeth ascended on the throne in the year 1558, and he was born in 1564. I mean a little after Queen Elizabeth had become Queen of England. And he was one of the very favorite writers of Queen Elizabeth, because the characters, especially many of the characters of William Shakespeare, affected a lot to Queen Elizabeth. And then he died on the same date, 23rd of April in 1616. So you should notice this point also, that he died on the date of his birth. And he is known as the Bard of Avon. Avon, as I told you, that is a place. And he is known as the Bard. Bard means poet. He is known as the poet of this place. And he wrote total 39 plays, 154 sonnets, and two very long narrative poems. This poem, which we are going to deal with and we are going to study today, is his sonnet number 18. This is the figure of our dearest William Shakespeare. Seems to be a very smart person. Then, before I teach you this sonnet number 18, I would like to tell you what exactly a sonnet is. A sonnet usually is a love poem of 14 lines. This is the simplest definition which you can always remember, that it is a 14 lines poem and it is a love poem. These are two very important characteristics of a sonnet. Whenever you are asked what a sonnet is, you must tell that it is a poem of 14 lines plus it is a love poem. And how it was started, how it evolved as a form of poetry, you also need to understand, because sonnet first was created by Giacomo da Lentini, who was the head of the Sicilian school under Emperor Frederick II. So you must not forget that it was a form which was started in Italy initially, and then some very famous writers wrote in this form, and first of them was Dante himself, because he loved Beatrice, and for his beloved he wrote many sonnets. Then it was Petrarch who wrote, and then Michelangelo, must be knowing, the very famous painter, he also wrote some sonnets. So these were the very famous practitioners of sonnet of his time. And after that, the next information is this: it was brought in England by Thomas Watt. As I told you that Thomas Watt was, one of the cousins of Anne Boleyn. Remember Anne Boleyn, who was the mother of Queen Elizabeth, and Thomas Watt was beheaded on the at the orders of Henry VIII, because of the reason that there was a kind of illicit relationship, so which almost was suspected by Henry VIII, and then he commanded that Thomas Watt should be executed, and then he was executed. He was a poet, he was a statesman, and he was a cousin of Anne Boleyn. You must not forget. And he was the person who brought sonnets to England. We need to know the divisions of sonnets. It can be broadly divided into two parts. The first one is known as Italian sonnet or Petrarchan sonnet, because of the reason that Petrarch, the very famous poet of Italy, and it is also known as classical sonnets. And then the second one, or the second part of a sonnet, is English sonnet. And now let us have a look of what an Italian sonnet is, or a Petrarchan or a classical sonnet is. It is named after Petrarch and is composed in two parts. As I told you that this sonnet is named after Petrarch, the very famous Italian writer, and it is composed in two parts. The first part is known as octave, and it consists of two quatrains. In each quatrain consists of 4 lines, and this is how the total number of lines is 8, right? Because a quatrain contains how many lines? 4 lines. A quatrain in Hindi known as chaupai, because you know in chaupai there are 4 lines. So octave portion contains, 2 quatrains, that means 8 lines. With the following rhyming scheme: A B B A A B B A. You must not forget the rhyming scheme. It is usually written in the form of a question. The first portion is written in the form of a question, and in the second part, which is known as the state, and in the state portion, the writer or the poet, you see, replies, responds against the question which he himself asks in the very first part of the poem. What is the rhyming scheme that you need to know? It is, a repetition of similar sounds in the final stressed syllables, right? Final stressed syllable. There you will find that in the end of each and every single line, you will find that there are some certain words, right? And usually the words are different, but the sounds are same. So that is what is known as rhyming. When I will teach this sonnet number 18, I will tell you about this, particular thing. Next part is called sestet. It usually I have told you it consists of 2 tercet. What does tercet mean? What is the meaning of tercet? You need to know. A tercet is consists of 3 lines, right? And then 2 tercet means 6 lines. And this is how when you add 8 plus 6, then you would get 14 lines. So 8 lines are written in the form of question, and last 6 lines are written in the form of answer. The first portion is known as octave. Second portion is known as sestet. And this sestet portion follows usually this rhyming scheme: CDE, CDE, CDC, DCD, CDE, DCE. Means different writers follow different rhyming schemes in the sestet portion, while octave portion follows a certain rhyming scheme, that is AB, BA, AB, BA. You must not forget this thing. After line number 8, there is a well-marked pause or caesura, followed by a volta or the turn in the thought. For example, Milton on his blindness. What does this mean? You see, when 8 lines ends, you will find that there is a kind of sudden turn of thought, right? Suddenly you will find that the writer changes the way he is speaking. Seems, as I told you, that he starts responding against what he has already spoken, what he has already asked. So this particular turn is known as first you try to understand this particular pause, when for a second, for a moment, when the poet stops, and then he starts kind of writing, then he starts telling the next 6 lines. Then this particular pause is known as caesura, right? Spelling is CAESURA, caesura. And this particular turn of thought is known as volta. You must not forget these terms, because these are the terms which many times, in many exams, these terms have been asked. What is a caesura, what is a volta, and all these kinds of questions they usually ask. And the example before us is Milton's on his blindness. You will find that in the first 8 lines he asks questions: when I consider how my eyesight has gone, how I almost became blind. And then in all the 8 first 8 lines he talks about these things. Then suddenly there is a pause. He seems to be meditating for a moment, for a second, and that pause is known as caesura. And then he starts responding, and he starts telling that it is exactly not the fault of the God only wishes what a person must wait for his turn, right? God does not want the service of anyone, and those who wait for his turn serves the God well. This is what he says in the last 6 lines, right? So this particular turn of idea, turn of thought is known as volta. You must not forget these things. Then comes the number of the English sonnet. What is an English sonnet, right? English sonnet was introduced into England for the first time in the mid of 16th century by Thomas Watt. I told you, remember a little while ago, I told you that Thomas Watt was one of the cousins of Anne Boleyn, who was the second wife of Henry VIII, right? And this was the person who was a poet, statesman. I already stated this thing, and he brought sonnet as a form of poetry to England. And then it was followed, this particular form was followed by another statesman, another person who was Henry Hobart, and at that time he was Earl of Surrey. You remember, Surrey is a place, Earl is a kind of designation. So this person, Henry Hobart, who was Earl of Surrey, he started writing sonnets, and he followed Thomas Watt, but with a little difference, right? Watt followed Italian model, while Henry Hobart adopted a different model, which culminated in English sonnet, which can further be divided into two following parts. You try to understand, which already I have told. Wyatt, he followed Italian model. I mean, he wrote in the form of octave and sestet, right? He wrote first 8 lines, then last 6 lines. He totally followed Italian model. He totally followed, remember, that classical model. But when Henry Hobart started writing, he adopted a different model, and that culminated in English sonnet, which later has become English sonnet, or which still is known as English sonnet. And the English sonnet can be divided again into two parts, right? The first part is Spenserian sonnet, because Spenser was the person who followed Henry Hobart later on. Again, you see, what is the model of the Spenserian sonnet? A 14-line poem which can be divided into 3 quatrains followed by 1 couplet with the following rhyming scheme: A B A B B C B C C D C D E E. My dear students, you try to understand the basic division between an Italian sonnet and an English sonnet is this, that you see, Italian sonnet is written in 1 octave in 1 sestet, whereas an English sonnet is written in 3 quatrains followed by 1 couplet. As I have told you that quatrain means chaupai in Hindi. Quatrain means 4 lines. So if 4 lines occur 3 times, that means 12 lines, and then 1 couplet is equal to 2 lines, and this is how you can kind of complete 14 lines. 3 quatrains is equal to 12 lines, and 1 couplet is equal to 2 lines, and then 12 plus 2 is equal to 14 lines. With this particular rhyming scheme, A B A B B C B C C D C D E. Sorry, you must focus on one thing, that there is a kind of connection between the words in the last. You try. There is a kind of interconnection in the rhyming scheme. What kind of interconnection? You see, A B, and then B goes into the next quatrain, B C, then C goes into the next quatrain, C D, and this is how all these 3 quatrains are interconnected. And this thing you would not get in Spence, you would not get there in Shakespearean sonnet, because Shakespearean sonnet, when first quatrain ends, a fresh rhyming scheme starts in the next quatrain, very much like this: A B, then here B ends, and then a fresh quatrain starts from C D, and then D ends here, and again it starts D E, and then F. You try to understand. So there is no kind of interconnection between the quatrains in Shakespearean sonnet, whereas there is a clear interconnection in the rhyming scheme between the quatrains in Spenserian sonnet. This thing you must not forget. Now here comes the Shakespearean sonnet. My dear students, you see what a Shakespearean sonnet is. Again, it also contains 3 quatrains in 1 couplet. That means 14 lines. But Spenserian sonnet, and Shakespearean sonnet, both are different because both follow different rhyming scheme. Here the rhyming scheme is, in Shakespearean sonnet, I mean A B, C D, E F G. And what already I have told you, that there is no interconnection. You see here, A B, then B ends here, C D, D ends here, E F, and F ends here, then G. Whereas in the Spenserian sonnet, you would have seen, right, that A B, then B shifts in the next, try to understand, in the next quatrain, and it becomes B C, not C D. So this is the basic difference between Shakespearean sonnet and Spenserian sonnet. And then Shakespeare wrote altogether 154 sonnets, in which 126 sonnet is addressed to Mr. W.H., and 26 sonnet is addressed to Dark Lady, and last 2 sonnet is addressed to Love God Cupid, right? So the identity of Mr. W.H. is really very confusing, but some people think that this Mr. W.H. might have been Henry Risley, who was the third Earl of Southampton, or might have been, you see, William Herbert, who was the third Earl of Pembroke, right? So William Shakespeare in his lifetime had not made it clear, so people just guessed that who this person might have been. And then these two probable names, which most of the people they usually think either of them could be the could be in the center of the sonnets of William Shakespeare, especially from sonnet number 1 to 126. And then you must not forget another information that last two sonnets are addressed to love god Cupid. And here the present sonnet which we are going to study is sonnet number 18. It is a typical English or Shakespearean sonnet having 14 iambic pentameter lines. And one very important quality of the sonnets is this, that it usually is written in iambic pentameter lines. What an iambic pentameter line is? An iambic pentameter line is, written in pentameter. Pentameter means 5 times meters are repeated. And what kind of meters are repeated? Iambic meter. Iambic meter is a kind of meter where you would get that there is one unstressed syllable followed by stressed syllable. So you will get 5 times this particular pattern. Unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, and unstressed, stressed 5 times, right? And it starts from unstressed, ends with stress. So this is known as iambic pentameter line. And most of the lines of a sonnet are written in iambic pentameter, right? So you must not forget this thing also. This is about what a sonnet is, how it is written, and about many great writers of sonnet, right? And after this I will teach you sonnet number 18, and that would be almost the second part of my lecture. So I end here the first part of my lecture. Thank you everyone for attending.